Spiritual women in business, you need to hear this. You have been lied to. You were told, make more money, build the successful business, hit the bigger goal. Then you'll feel free, safe, happy enough, like the Instagram reel. But you got there and you still didn't feel enough. And instead of questioning the lie you were told to sell you something, you decided the problem was you and felt that crippling shame. You're too broken, you need fixing, that it's not possible for you to have that. This is what happened to me when I hit six figures in my business and had a huge increase in sales. I still didn't feel safe. I still didn't feel enough. So I thought I had to go chase something else to feel that way. And it's just not true. There was nothing external that could take this away. And that is the lie that you've been told. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the 3 unconscious programs that need to be dissolved so you can actually enjoy success, feel happy, feel safe, feel enough, and feel worthy. And there is no shame. I've helped thousands around the world with their unconscious program healing. Mission-led leaders, spiritual entrepreneurs. Yeah, I totally missed this in myself because it was so deep. It was like my personality since I was very, very young. This is why you've missed it. And also because the self-development industry does not go deep enough into this unconscious layer. So when we don't get the result, or we get the result, but we don't feel the way we want to feel, we blame ourselves. But it's not your fault. It's because you haven't gone deep. That's all it is. And in this video, we're going to do that. So number 1 is your vulnerable parts. So throughout your life, when you were very, very young and whenever else it came up, whenever you were like very afraid, very anxious, full of grief, full of shame, your psyche would have created a vulnerable part. Okay. So for example, my dad, he was narcissistic, had a very explosive temper, and he was a teacher. So from a really young age, when I was about 5, he would lose his temper if I wasn't studying and doing these little math workbooks. That happened so many times that a vulnerable part would feel very afraid if I was playing or resting or enjoying life because he may erupt at any single point. So then we get the second unconscious program, which is the protective part. So what happens is the age that you were where the pain came in, then a protective part comes online. Now, this protective part comes up with a survival strategy, which is still in your unconscious mind. And it's like, okay, so we've collected all this data. He loses his temper. He gets angry. So what we're going to do is we're going to be a really good girl and do everything he says. And then he won't do it. But as a teenager, I'm doing my exams, I'm doing all the work, but now he's sort of changing the game on me. It's like if I'm not working for 7 hours a day, he's losing his temper. So protective part's like you have to work all of the time. He cannot see you rest because he will get really, really angry. Now, this is the program that created the protective part of the high achiever, who of course created the 6-figure result. But also, if you heard my story there, I wasn't allowed to rest. I wasn't allowed to play. I wasn't allowed to be happy, and I wasn't allowed to feel joy. So when something amazing like this happens and I feel any of those feelings, they feel so dangerous and so unfamiliar. So the protective part is like, oh my God, this is terrible. Let me go sabotage. Let me go get rid of it. Now, I have created a free guide called the Queen Self-Leadership Guide that teaches you how to help your vulnerable parts to process the feelings so they don't stay in your energetic field and mess with the life that you're creating. And also for you to grow up these protective parts so they become the age that you are now and they realize they don't need to do the protection. Like, for example, for me, my dad has died. It's unnecessary for me to do this. But inside, until I'd done this work, I didn't know that. So I kept unconsciously doing it. And then when you're like in changing your habits and things like that, you're like, oh, okay, this is why I'm scared. Let me take care of these parts of me. Let me bring them up with healthy mothering and fathering, and then they're going to be okay. And they will dissolve. This is how you get your power back over your life, and you're able to feel peace and safety in the present moment. This is so incredibly life-changing. So please make sure you download that guide, Comic Queen, and I'll send it to you. Now, number 3, this is where many of you are getting stuck. This is where so much sabotage comes in because you will have multiple vulnerable parts, multiple protective parts that are actually sort of fighting with each other. So one is pushing the gas and one is hitting the brake, and that creates that intense stuck feeling that you feel sometimes. So for me, this looked like, I told you about my high achiever, but I also had from my dad and other people in my family that when I was fully me, so I was like the sparkly little girl, the one that's, spinning around in her little dress, and I was very caring and empathic about people, people would attack me verbally. And because I could feel they felt bad, and I didn't like making people feel bad. So I was like, unconsciously, of course, the vulnerable part is, oh my God, people hurt me when I am too much. And then the protective part is like, we're going to shrink that down a little bit. We're going to make sure you're not too much. We're going to make sure you're not too successful. We'll make sure you're not too pretty. And when I came online with my business, I put on a load of weight. That was a protective part, making me a little bit less sparkly. And also, when I had created those big results and I started to feel people were getting triggered by me, I spent that money quicker than I made it. That's the double bind. That's the two parts playing together. But that Queen Self Leadership Guide is going to talk you through how to work with these parts, okay? I cannot tell you the life-changing power of this work. It doesn't just impact your business, it will impact your entire life. This is not fast work, but it's what creates sustainable success that feels good. My client Abby has been inside my program Overflow for 1 month. She has had such shifts internally and she's starting to feel more than enough. And so, therefore, she is now experiencing results that feel that way, like doubling sales in a week. So, even though it can take a bit of time to do this, the results that you get that don't even make sense come in quickly. Going back to my point at the beginning, the reason why nothing externally can change this is because your perception creates your reality. So when those vulnerable parts are inside of you because they haven't been processed and they're continually being protected by this unconscious pattern, the shame of I'm not enough from when you were young. And that is filtering the world. I want you to hear me. This is why nothing external can change the way you feel. Your internal state is creating your reality. It's how you're perceiving the world. Dilute your experience so it becomes not enough. And it's not until you process the feelings and you calm down the protections that you're actually able to experience more than enough. And then also actually be able to have sustainable success, enjoy it not feel empty. In my next video, I'm going to teach you a daily practice that I want you to do for 30 days that will show you what these protective parts and vulnerable parts are so you can begin the process of healing them and growing them up. Remember, you have the power to do this. It's inside of you, nobody else. You have to do it. Not a therapist, not a coach, not me. You can do this. You become the mother and father you always needed. That is your answer to freedom and safety. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you get notified when that video comes out. And if it's already out, it's going to start playing directly after this one. So I'll see you in the next video.